From the demo 5, I have to explain about SpringBoot microservices controller and REST request request handling. From it comes to microservices layer, microservice layers, and how the controller will perform. Where microservice architecture in modern applications, instead of building a large monolithic system, we have to build microservices. Microservice is a small independent application that performs a specific business function. For example, we are doing payment system. We are doing a payment system where it comes as payment service, by provider service, validation service, last one, notification service. We are doing this one. Each microservice runs independently and communicates using REST API for messaging system. When we're building this microservice using Spring Boot, the application is typically structured in multiple layers. It will connect to one by one. Where the layers, I will briefly explain layers in microservice. First one, controller layer. Second one, service layer. It will pass through one by one and comes to repository layer. And last one, database layer. This one. When the controller layer is the entry point of the microsystem, we open this one. I have done last one. Close this provide. Or here only I will explain what is it. Whenever payment controller, it's the entry point. Payment controller, it's the entry point for microservice. External systems such as web applications, mobile application, other microservices sends HTTP request through this our application, where we can call this as HTTP localhost starting from which port, 8080 or 8083, anything we have. The controller receives the request and call the appropriate business logic in the service layer. is the request reaches to the controller when a request is sent from client. Client sends HTTP request, and request reaches to embedded Tomcat server. And we have dispatcher servlet. It will handles to the correct controller method. To controller, it will execute the logic, and response is returned to the client. This is the flow we have to discuss. Whenever a client passes, it goes to HTTP to Tomcat, and it goes to dispatcher server. This and goes to controller. It will generate a response. This is the flow. Every microservice will it will create a REST controller API. I will show that one. REST controller. What will this do? This will forms an interface which indicates a logical point in SpringBoot to 4 version annotation controller class. It will create a REST API. Like this. To request mapping, where to, and it will connect to I, or this will execute payment service. After that, responsibility also executes. What is I am saying is REST controller tells the SpringBoot or can tells the SpringBoot that the class handles REST requests, and this REST mapping defines the base of the URL. This base of the URL, and what we call last, just I will show. I will write in notepad. This one only. Before that, it will call any get method through what I have called this one. Like that. URL mapping rules in SpringBoot. It's an important rule. One rule must be calls to one HTTP method. Must map only one controller method. Example, through request mapping. Connect to one thing only, not another. I am saying is one method. Do not do many request mapping. This will cause an error. And SpringBoot requires unique mappings. We will create another REST control. So we will delete this one. There are many methods where REST API calls. Let me discuss that. This is method and what is for purpose. We have get, we have post, we have put, we have patch, have delete. It will retrieve the data. What is get method? Retrieve data. Data. It will create a data. Data. It will update a data. We will not touch in this one. And this is for a sake I will say it's a partial update. Partial update. I will focus on later after this completion of internship project. I will try to modify at that time. It will remove the data if we delete this anything. We will test in Postman also. For that we have to say instead of what we will call this is post mapping. I have done like that. We have many things. Get mapping also. Get mapping also there. Put mapping also there. Like that. Let me undo this one. We will not use this one. Post mapping. After that, there are multiple ways to send a backend APIs using query parameters or path variables, request headers, request body, JSON. So many I have done in this JSON and request headers, not path variables. These fixed path variables, but we have done through request body JSON. After that, we will assign the path variables like post and so on so on. What I have done, yeah, like this, and calls to the controller, and will be execute one by one. After that, header will do metadata what HTTP request wants and test once, and goes to JSON request body. Goes to JSON change to what is create a Java class representing JSON, and here data where and control will provide a lamb of data. It will automatically generate yeah yes. What is the purpose of lambda? It will automatically generates getters and setters, two strings, equals and hash code. Will do lambda operations, which is faster way of execution. After that, JSON conversion is using Jackson. Using Jackson, JSON to Java object. JSON to Java object. Or Java object to JSON. Here comes, I will show. Convert JSON to object. This is the one file. Convert object to JSON. This is the code. I will show according to that. From all the coding, this is the one we have to catch. If an exception comes, here also exception comes, and we'll try to perform the operations. After that, object mapper will calls to the test request, converts JSON string into JSON object, and every HTTP contains response body, response headers, response status. What this means 1 access, 2 access, 3 access, 5 access, according to what we will say. 1 access means informational, 2 access means success, and 3 access is redirection problem, or 4 access means client having problem, and 5 access means no. 5 access will not come many of the cases. Sometimes it will come, and 5 access is the server error. Like 200, okay, 404 not found, 500 internal server, like that. True, it will allow the custom exception. We have to do this exception also. Again come to this one, testing test APIs using Postman or curl. Swagger is a website. We'll go to the when an application is running only, it will show it is available in Google. Postman is the mostly common user for testing. I had downloaded the Postman where all my applications, all my pods test there only using Maven dependency, using what I can say this. I will show Stripe provider service, localhost, V1 payments, like that. For me, loading, no internet issue. So I am doing just a demo. You can know that. So after we will run the microservice using this one, clean package. After that, run as Maven build. Here we can show clean package and run the files like this. Application run in multiple environments. First one, local. Second one, dev. Third one, QA. Fourth one, UAT. Fifth one, production. SpringBoot uses manage environmental configuration using local properties, dev properties, prod properties. Here we'll see dev properties. We'll run development side, local, which is local. We'll cut this in development phase, we'll paste it in prod, production, and QA. It's not our job. So many members, they will activate the profile during this and run according to that. After that, we will clean the package every time, every building time. This builds the application new profile configuration. Combining this profile and Spring profile, we'll try to clean that and activate and UAT so that Controller is the entry point of the microservice. I am saying it will comes to first and end, and it will goes to HTTP request. Dispatcher servlet. REST APIs are used SpringBoot annotations, and data is passed through a parameters and query parameters part headers. That application can run into Maven commands like jar files. Application can also do in same code multiple concepts like field validation, many validation like that. So I have done many things. So that is what I have done. And next thing I have done after this create session, let me close this one. Close this project. After that validation initial setup, through here we have same files controller. So I have extracted and I have done close this project. Let me close this one. Close this one also. I have done where payment comes from. This is a validation service for validator frame. I have done REST controller request mapping same, and comes to payment service. It will create a payment. It's a validation. Mostly I have done for validation. It comes to service. We'll do HMAC services. HMAC HU256 services. What I will show that it will do a secret key like a Hitman secret key and compute the performance like JSON input. It will also catch any object to input to object like that, and calculate this one. Goes to service IMP where the validator, it will check the validator is performable, and goes to business. It will try to hold not this one. It's business validator. We will validate this one. Goes to payment service. Both of them will create both of the request. Goes to security config. Checks if HMAC service is valid. So it will create a HMAC. What is this one? Here authorize permit all. These are the measure of the improvement of the what HTTP request configure authorization management request this permit all. We have to know security. How deep in the security we know from this perspective. HMAC services using security filter chain and payment validation service. It start from that, and the entities I have done many. These are the entities in previous create session integration also. It will handle the global exception and throws through generic and where all the code have payment validation. This is also same. I copy paste from the create session integration, and we have done Pojo classes. There are a code line item. We have changed here. This some I have prompted GPT, and what is prompt, what is game I copy pasted here. And it comes to payment here also. So it will give the line item MC all like that. Payment request user, last one user. These are all the validation service. We have to validate each and every step here. It goes to merchant payment repository here, where it will comes to all the user transaction goes to parameters, all this insert SQL commands. It's not now. Goes to security. Will handle the HMAC. Where is HMAC? Yeah, here. HMAC authentication token. If it is valid, it goes there. It will goes to HMAC filter and does the performations according to do filter changes. Security issue. All the changes I have done and I am explaining because this demo it goes to vendor builder like that. It will try to modify from these to this. Here I will open form.xml. What are the dependencies I have done through workspace and Lambda model method, SpringBoot starter validation. This is we have added in this configuration. MySQL connector jar. I will say that one. JDBC also connected. SpringBoot starter security. Redis. These are the dependencies I have added in this validation service validator. So many. No. Try to explain so many concepts. Now I will open the DB where I have created. I have a validation setup. The database using validation users. It will create the database according to. It will identify the, and I have given a permission to grant one of them to validation users. It will be a query code. I have done DB setup. I have working on validator rules now. It comes to local properties. Their duplication transaction rule and payment assume attempt threshold rule. Data this is JDBC localhost 3306 validations. This is validation and password. It is generated by HMAC service. No, not it. Which I have created data source password. I have provided to the in this validation setup. Here I have secret keys that you are and MySQL local. This is ready sketchy code. I will try to do another video as possible and I will say about ready sketchy. These are the resources. What I have installed from this project is what I am able to know about this after this. I have been able to code some code according to myself to showcase my knowledge. Some to interviewer. I will say some Eclipse. I have done for it. Using Eclipse, I have got something. From that, I have done 2 microservices. By daily CL. And through, I have knowingly know as what I can say. This is Baxter Postman. I have no from this void. Using Postman, I can be able to test using move external. I will able to run the files according to that. I don't have AWS subscription, so I have using move external as a platform. I have able to explain about Redis catchy. I'm able to explain SpringBoot, Spring Security, Spring JDBC. Yeah, coming to programming, I can able to code in Java frameworks. I use SpringBoot, Spring Security, and JDBC. Coming to architecture, microservices, RESTful API, circuit breaker, Eureka circuits, registry. I have done proving AWS. I have done Baxter as alternative. In that, I have done RDS, secret manager, all things. Secret manager, I am now learning. I know MySQL before only. I am using Redis Catchy for faster executions. Before than MySQL. And testing here JUnit and Mockito. Will test again another. I will try to test through that using here only debug. So no need to worry that one. And tools, I'm using Postman, Curl, Swagger UI. Yeah, Maven dependencies. Version control, Git. I have downloaded Bitbucket also here in there. I will here from my first app, then goes to by initial setup. After that, I have created the create session integration. Here validation initial setup is on that. Here also I have pushed many of the configurations. Daily I will do coding and push that. If any changes, no, I will try to modify here only and try to update like that. Bitbucket also source tree. This is source tree. Bitbucket in Chrome. I will try to push through, not pushing. Branch to like that. SLF4j instead of using every time system.out.println, we use SLF4j to log back this one. And ID is Eclipse. I have using VS Code. I have, but I did not use. I am familiar with Eclipse only. I have installed DB Beaver also. DB Beaver for selecting the database. I used Jackson libraries, Lambbox, methodologies. Again, I have done. This is what I have done. How these all the technical terms I have posted in LinkedIn as much as I wanted and try to learn new things. So this is the end of the fifth demo. Thank you.